Okay, I would now like to introduce Brendan Greer of Tuna as the facilitator of our Prospering and Changing Climate Grants Program Showcase Edition. Brendan is the Executive Director of Natural Resources within Tuna and also the Chair of the Climate Change Adaptation Steering Committee. He has 20 years in NRM and biodiversity conservation, and I'd also now ask our successful grant applicants to come into the Dragons Field.
Thanks, Rowan, and while the successful grant applicants take a stand, we'll be doing this ever so slightly differently. I'll just have a few opening statements, and then what we'll do is get each of the successful applicants to run through their particular successful project. Rowan, as chair of the panel, is actually going to make some, give you some insights about why these people were successful, whether these organisations were successful. And then I think we'll allow just if there are any immediate questions around that particular application, please throw them forward. But we'll leave a bit of time at the end as well for your general questions about what's required in an application, some of the nuts and bolts, whatever you want to ask us, essentially. And Rowan and Lauren will answer those questions as two of the people who are responsible for managing the program. Now, just under my time. But anyway, in terms of the actual program, the Climate Change Adaptation Framework grant program, it's so that we can actually allow sectors and regions to actually have a go and undertake some activities in the adaptation area. Now, the projects that it's a broad remit in terms of what might be successful. We're looking for projects that display innovative adaptation activities, and particularly those things that might be useful for case studies. We're also looking for more of the research side of that, research projects that might be around particular vulnerable areas, for example. And finally, we're looking for projects that actually improve the way we undertake the communication that's required around adaptation, and particularly tools that are useful that all of the regions and sectors and partners can actually use when they undertake their activities. Now, there's a whole range. I won't go through the list of groups that are able to apply for this, but they are many. You might be interested to know that the business bodies actually include government business enterprises. They're eligible. But I guess one thing we're particularly looking that whoever applies for a grant under this program, that the benefits can be broadly applied. So they have benefits beyond the particular proponent. Now we've changed just one of the criteria just to be a little more in synchronicity, I guess, with the caring for our country and biofund style applications, where the matching dollars that you may be able to find to put towards these things, we're using a weighted criteria, so it's part of the assessment process rather than absolutely necessary, for example, to have a 50-50 matching component. Yes, and applications are due reasonably soon, as you can see, 12th of April, so you have a little bit more time, but if you are thinking of making an application, now's the time to quiz not only the successful applicants, but also Rowan and Lauren. Okay, now I'll introduce the panel members. Firstly, I'll get my bios, because I haven't even really met two of them, so hello and welcome. So firstly, I'll start with Natasha. Natasha Hall, she's the Regional Climate Change Coordinator for the York and Mid-North Regional Alliance. Natasha has a Civil and Environmental Engineering degree and a broad background working in regional areas. Her roles have included planning, program management and operations in fields including infrastructure and natural resource management. And the particular project Natasha talks about is the business plan and other matters that are developed for the Regional Sustainability Centre. Next, Adam, who you've already met, but I'll reintroduce Adam Gray for you. Adam's the Director of Environment at the Local Government Association SA, where he leads a small team of staff charged with delivering a number of key environmental objectives for the LGA sector. And over the last few years, Adam's worked across 3 tiers of government and with a host of stakeholders has developed a substantial and growing body of work to assist councils to plan for a climate on steroids. So welcome back to the stage. Stephen Smith's got 30 years experience of working in the fields of planning and natural resource management, both overseas and in Australia, at local and regional levels. He's got a degree in planning and a master's in business admin. So following 18 years working in local government in a variety of planning roles, Stephen has moved into the natural resource management area, working with Onkaparinga Catchment Water Management Board and now obviously the AMLA, Adelaide Mount Lofty Ranges NRM Board. And looking to improve the relationship between the planning system and natural resources system to ensure sustainable use of the region's natural resources. One of the key, no one's mentioned the state NRM plan, so now's my opportunity. One of the key targets in the state NRM plan, getting the connection between the NRM system and the land use planning system. And finally, Julie Fielder is an executive officer with Horses SA and has been with the organisation for 12 years. Horses SA is a not-for-profit organisation which works with and for horse owners. The role sees Julie involved with a wide range of projects from biosecurity and horse health to research, environment and recreational trails. And the Horses SA actually put together a climate change adaptation plan for the horse sector. Now I see Ryan's looking nervous next to me already in terms of timing, so I will move on and we'll start with Natasha. If you can actually outline your bit and Ron will respond after that.
Thanks Brendan and thanks for the opportunity to share. So as mentioned, the York Mid-North Regional Alliance has been successful in getting grant funding to undertake a business case for a sustainability centre. Now the Regional Alliance is made up of the Central Local Government Region, which is 15 councils, Regional Development Australia, York Mid-North and the Northern York NRM Board. So today I'll briefly explain, I guess, how the idea of a sustainability centre for the region was conceived and assessed, what the business case project is about, and how we think the sustainability centre will provide for adaptation in our region, and then just our learnings about the grant process and steps forward for the project. So the concept of a sustainability centre has been around quite some time within our region. Actually back in 2008, or probably prior to that, we had our first Northern York and Mid-North Climate Forum, and there the concept was discussed, and it made its way into our Regional Climate Change Alliance terms of reference. Coming forward, we then undertook a integrated climate change vulnerability assessment, and the concept made its way into that report as well. And now we've also undertaken our adaptation planning process. And again, the undertaking a business case for a sustainability centre was put forward as an option and became the priority action for our region. I guess through all this process, it really ensured a strong support and backing from our regional alliance, who committed funding to the project and then receiving the grant. So the sustainability business case project is really around providing a clear direction for further implementation of this regional sustainability centre. I guess it's a bit unsure which way it could go and whether we could make it work, but it's something really to look into. So the process will involve looking at similar other sustainability centres across Australia to see what does work, and then talking with the community to identify what their needs are and how this sustainability centre may provide that connection that we may need or will need further down in the future with adaptation. There'll need, I guess, to be a lot of stakeholder meetings. I guess through the history and ideas around this centre, there's been a lot of threads, so it's really neat to pull those together, whether it be industry, wind farm industry, particularly in our area, and also with universities alike. And obviously there's got to be a bit of number crunching to look at the viability and look at projections. So largely at the moment the concept or the idea of what the Sustainability Centre is really open for discussion, but we hope that we'll be able to clarify that as we step through phases of an initial concept, then a feasibility and a final business case. So in terms of what could this Sustainability Centre be, or how does it provide for adaptation, a lot of the words that I've got shown here are keywords that came out of integrated climate change vulnerability assessment, and really I guess are key things for adaptation done within our region. So we've got interagency approach, alignment of research needs, so working with universities, education and information for communities, and showcasing industry initiatives. So what we're really thinking that this Sustainability Centre will really provide a central focus for a lot of these ideas, and really a potential way of sort of driving a lot of these recommendations into the future. So just finishing off, so I guess our involvement with the grant process provided us with a couple of learnings. One around the selection criteria, and Brent sort of outlined what the key points are there. We actually put in 2 submissions, so one was successful, really because it had that adaptation focus and that ability to connect, a way of connecting and a tool to connect with the community, whereas another one was more sort of focused on mitigation, but that's something that we can talk about further. We also, I guess, realised that our vulnerability assessment and our planning process and also the regional lines really provided a strong basis for really development of a number of our projects, including this Sustainability Centre, and I guess that in itself made the grant submission process relatively straightforward. So from here, now with the Sustainability Centre, we're currently reviewing our expressions of interest, so we hope that we'll get a consultant on board in the next couple of weeks, and the project's due the business case for completion in June 2003 this year. So yes, hopefully beyond there we will be able to come up with a viable solution and see a Sustainability Centre in our region that you're heading off.
Do I need to say it? Part of the team? So I was the chair of the selection committee. I was included a representative from the East and another representative from Regional Development Australia. The reason why we ran this session was to educate you on how you can construct a successful bid, so we're going to try and provide as much detail as possible. So the reason why the panel had, it was a relatively easy discussion for your first bid, it met a number of criteria. The region had thought through in some considerable detail what it needed to drive performance. Second, was able to demonstrate a good case of why a Sustainability Centre would do that. There's been a long-term commitment through their sector agreement, and we've got an existing regional agreement with them, which is part of our program. And so there was a strong connection there. There was genuine commitment from the region, so that put real cash on the table and real support to make it happen, and we could see that it was a partnership approach that is likely to succeed. And so for those reasons, that bid was successful. And so for those reasons, we were happy to fund that.